I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Colby and Chip and Ghosty.
Good
So
Lord.
if you've been following us on Instagram, we've been going to the escape rooms. We've also been bringing out information for 2 of our villagers that are kind of in need. If you check in the description, you'll find the GoFundMe there. But the craziest thing happened when we were at the escape room. The guy said, "You know what?" He's like, "I'm gonna let you."
The room was $70. So we did
70
2 rooms. So the first room was the Zodiac Killer, in which we got killed because I'm stupid, and that was $50.
Yeah.
So then we're going into the second room. He's like, "Okay, so we're gonna charge you $50 to that room," and then he's like, "The other room, we're gonna let you go in for free, and we want you to put that $70 toward those 2 people you're trying to help."
So each of those people are gonna get 35 from that guy and his.
From Escape Room 207.
Yes, that's right. Escape Room 207.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So that was pretty crazy, pretty exciting.
Well,
more things in the life of Vin and Sori.
My favorite thing about it is we didn't start that whole thing. Zonia kind of headed up the charity thing.
Yep.
And it's not really charity. It's just our sharing our collective resources together to make sure our brothers and sisters are good. And I really believe that. So she was the one that kind of headed that up and all that. And then for days, this is how God works. For days, like all the way from last week, she's like, "Can you please put this on your page? Please put this on your page. Please put this on your page." We hadn't developed a relationship with Escape Room 207 until now. I finally put it up on the page. There,
Oh, you put it on the page today?
I put it on today.
That's
finally.
so funny. You put it on the page today, and I announced it in the video today.
Sadat. Right? So, like, it's just the timing is crazy. If I'd have done it the first time Zonia said to do it, then they wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just crazy to me. Like, this is not stuff that we're doing. This is stuff that our people are doing, and I'm. That's why it's like when people say, "Oh, you're fans," I'm like, no. Like, this is something completely different. This is not fandom. We're really trying to
real deal here
to flesh out this idea that we're really loving each other and things like that. This is not fandom. Not to say that there's anything wrong with being a fan. I'm a Korn fan. I say it all the time. It's just this is something that's different, obviously. So anyway, much love to Zonia. Much love to our village. Much love to Escape Room 207. I'm working on something behind the scenes because I know that God's going to reward them for their magnanimity and generosity. All right.
Okay. Ready?
We've got This is for the big homie JD.
Spirited.
This is my guy. He's been extremely patient.
Yes.
I love him. We're late as usual. This is Carnivore. Jesus Hitler.
Yes. Okay. Ready? Go.
the reason that we have Patreon picks. Because otherwise, this song would never have gotten a hearing. What's up? Talk to me.
Wow. What are we singing about here? I'm like, should I be wildly offended? Or is this person brilliant? What's happening here? Or is it both?
There is no doubt that this guy is extremely brilliant.
Okay.
His wordplay is crazy.
Yeah, yep.
This guy is like, his wordplay is like rapper level wordplay. And that's a compliment, because that's one thing that I will say from an artistic perspective that rappers have over heavy metalers is lyrical wordplay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No BS. I'll say it plain. When I take aim, I'm not playing games. No DS. Get it? So, like, you probably don't get that, huh?
I was actually thinking about this wallet.
I'll say it plain. You know, no BS. I'll say it plain. When I'm taking aim, I'm not playing games. No DS.
BS? Instead of BS, a DS? Because there's a game system?
No BS.
Yeah.
So that's no bullshit.
Yes.
I'll say it plain, because I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah.
When I'm taking aim, I'm not playing games. No DS. Because Nintendo DS.
Yes.
It's something you play as a game in your hand.
I said a game system.
But it's, you know, no DS. I say it plain, I'm playing game. No DS. Forget it. Dirk will appreciate my lyricism.
There you go, Dirk.
But this guy's got wordplay. He's got rapper level wordplay, and I salute him. I don't think that you're supposed to take this song very literally. You're not supposed to take it literally, and you're not supposed to take it seriously.
Then what are you supposed to do?
You're just supposed to take it for what it is. It's a song about what would happen if a person was like stuck. If their soul, like if you had the spirit of Christ and the spirit of Hitler in your body simultaneously, and that was driving the car, like, you know, how conflicted would you be?
Yeah.
You know, technically, obviously, as a Christian, that's impossible. But, you know, just dealing with both of those concepts, you know, he basically says it. He's two souls trapped in one body, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it says right there, a pair of souls trapped in the body of one.
Oh.
So in this one, it's Hess
Both
and Peter.
prisoners of reincarnation.
Sadakt, right?
Oh.
So it's Hess, and Hess was I wanted to make sure, because I had a flash of history class, but I'm like, I don't want to like destroy the entire Hess family and say that they were Nazis, but it's true. Rudolf Hess was a
German politician.
He died in 1987, and he was Hitler's deputy to the Führer in 1933.
When did this come out?
I don't know why.
I was just curious.
So it came out in 1987, which
That's
is
what I
interesting
thought.
because he died in 1987. Died August 17th, 1987. So yeah, very good. So Hess would have been on the brain. But so Hess was like really high up there in the Nazi party, and then of course you've got Peter, the Apostle Peter.
Yeah.
So it's like, if both of these people were reincarnated spiritually and by
Into the
some
same
accident,
person. That's wild.
right.
Yeah.
So that's what he's saying is this mother was, she was a nun, which is like the epitome of female virtue, raped by a Nazi, which is the denizens, the nadir of,
and then it was rape,
right? Of male energy. So like the highest female positivity and lowest male energy. Boom. Yep. And now he's Jesus, Hitler, Adolf Christ.
The
right?
ultimate abomination.
The ultimate abomination.
Okay.
Yeah. So
have I returned to save the Jews or destroy them?
Right. And then at the end it says, he's coming. I return for salve elimination.
Yeah.
He cuts it. So that's kind of the idea. Is that you have. What would it be like if both of those people were
if he
trapped
ended
in
the
same
song
body?
that way? Is he ending it like the dark would win over?
Well, I think it's kind of ironic because even prior to Hitler, and we're Christians, but even prior to Hitler, Christians were horrible to Jews. Now, in the inception of Christianity, Jews were terrible to Christians. Right? They had them killed, they had them crucified, they mobilized the Roman war machine to persecute Christians.
Yep.
But that all got taken care of in the first century. Jesus specifically said it in Matthew chapter 3. He said, on this generation will come all the righteous blood from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zacharias, son of Berechiah, who you slew between the altar.
Yes.
And so all that whatever got taken care of in the first century. In 70 AD, God sent the Romans to go destroy the Jews and whatever, the city of Jerusalem. So any Christian animus toward Jews after 70 AD is completely unfounded from a biblical perspective. But what do we do for the majority of Christian history? You know, you had the Crusaders going up there fighting against Salahuddin, and then when they lost to Salahuddin on the way back, they would do horrible things to the Jews, drown them in the baptismal because they wouldn't renounce Judaism and embrace Christianity, all types of things. So it's like, you didn't need, Hitler was not the beginning of anti-Semitism in the Western world. Right. Sorry, the history tells you, and I'm not going to do the whole, well, those were Catholics, they were Christians. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah. They were
Didn't
Christian.
you say that some of
what's wrong with you?
Martin Luther's writings?
Well, Martin Luther was under the assumption that because of the Jews' strict adherence to monotheism, that because of the Roman Catholics, you know, exigencies with Mary and the saints and praying to statues, which of course no Jew who reads their Torah is going to accept praying to statues.
Right, of course.
So Martin Luther was like, okay, once we get them the real gospel, they're really going to embrace it and they're going to come in mass because of Romans 9 through 11. And the Jews were like, well, thank you. We agree. The Roman Catholics are terrible and we don't like praying to statues, but we also don't like praying to Jesus either. Because a lot of medieval Jews obviously had a, you know, if you're, to this day, if you're monotheistic, most monotheists are not Trinitarian. They're Unitarian in their understanding of the nature of God. So so the Jews were like, well, thank you.
What, Unitarian was what now?
Unitarian, from the theological perspective, means that there's one God and one person who's God. Whereas Christians believe there's one being who's God, but within that one being there's three persons. So we're Trinitarian, and Jews and Muslims are Unitarian, right? So the Jews told Martin Luther, they're like...
Is a modalist a Unitarian?
Modalism is a form of Unitarianism.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right.
But you know, so the Jews told Martin Luther, like, look, bruh, thank you. We agree, praying to statues is crazy, but we also think praying to Jesus is crazy. Of course, they didn't say it that way because they were outnumbered and they had already been persecuted by the Catholics. So they said, yeah. And then so Martin Luther wrote these horrible, you know, the most famous ones was Of the Jews and Their Lies.
Yeah. And
which got republished and circulated all over the place in Germany and was a precursor to Kristallnacht. So really, really, really crazy stuff. So my point is he ends it on elimination, and he ends it as, have I returned to save the Jews or destroy them? Because you can say Hitler's main goal was to destroy Jews, but unfortunately in the Western history, for much of Western history, Christianity has been a literally destructive force to Jews. Now, obviously, as a Christian, I believe that Jesus is the only way. So, you know, I don't believe that form of Judaism should continue because I believe that Jesus is the truth. But you destroy untruth by boldly proclaiming the truth. You don't destroy untruth by killing people,
right?
Which is what we did. And I'm sorry, Protestants, it doesn't help you to say that was the Catholics. Sorry. Right. Every Protestant reformer was a Catholic. John Calvin was a Catholic. Martin Luther was a Catholic. So you can't say that. You just can't. You know, and so anyway, I think, you know, it's a funny song. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's kind of like, what if?
I see what you're saying, yeah.
But at the same time, he's saying some really significant stuff, I think. And it's one of those, it's a really interesting concept I never thought of before.
No.
What if reincarnation was true and their spirits embodied, you know, and you had this crazy genocidal maniac on one hand, while at the same time you had the sacrificial turn the other cheek. You know, Zonia posted yesterday, and it was kind of a thought experiment, but Zonia posted yesterday that you don't have any enemies, they're just people that you fail to understand or something like that. Something very conciliatory and Jesus-like. And the vast majority, and I'm not mad at the commentators because I get it, but the vast majority of the commentators like, no, my enemy, somebody's, that type of thing.
She said what?
Your enemy is a person that you have yet to understand.
Yeah.
Right?
But that didn't have anything to do with Jesus. It was just in general.
Yeah, well, yes. What I told her was, it was too Christ-like of a sentiment to be popularly embraced.
Yeah.
Because, and it sounds like, psychobabble, hippie psychobabble. But I got to say that as I've,
No, I think that
older and older I get, the more I realize that if I just understood this person, I'd realize that. That's why, in some forums, people say all types of crazy stuff about me. I don't take it personally. Like, I understand where they're coming from in the sense of, Anyway. So, anyway, like, Nazi-holics, neo-theo-fascists, holy swastifix instead of holy crucifix. The swastika and the crucifix. I just thought it was just brilliant writing.
Yeah, I agree. Very unique.
Yeah. And it's... Of course, the ultimate answer for us is that, Jesus, Hitler is real. It's in every single person you run into. Because to me, it's just another way of saying you're creating the image of God, but you also have a sinful nature.
Yes.
So, insofar as you image God, then you're Jesus, right? You're representing your imaging Jesus. And insofar as you operate from the basest inclinations of your nature, you're Hitler simultaneously in the same body.
Right.
So there's a sense in which this song is almost him, at least at a subliminal level. If I'm getting super meta here, he's trying to deal with the contradiction that is being a human being.
Yeah.
That's why when I talk to Nazis and things like that. That's why when the Unite the Right guy was all crying and stuff because he's in legal trouble and stuff, I could tell that the guy's never been on the wrong side of the law, or maybe he has, and there are just some people who are just soft. So I called him. Obviously, he didn't return my call, but I was inclined to talk to him and try to encourage him.
Yes, I remember that.
But go ahead.
Just thinking of your own self, like, I don't know if you guys are like me in this, but like, there's some things that I do and I'm like, I didn't expect myself, that was a really horrible thing I did. I didn't expect myself to have done that. Yeah. And then there's also times where I'm like, that was actually like a legit nice thing. And I wasn't doing it to be a nice person. It just kind of came out of nowhere. And so like, if you put those side by side, you're like, wait, you are a giant contradiction. How can this, person also be this person? But like, I think that we're all, I've got a
friend in one of these forums who he says, and I don't necessarily disagree with him, he deals with these crazy attack dogs. And dogs that most people would say, get him out of here.
Thing. Yeah, because they're attack dogs.
And he goes out of his way to help them and such. And that's amazing. That's amazing work. It's like, that's, especially Christians, taking care of animals, they don't really see it as a big deal. Aw, that was very sweet of you. I love you too.
It was a secret.
Well, I didn't tell the people that you wrote that to me. But, so, this guy, so I think that that's a very godlike thing to do, At the same time, he also made a quip. He basically said, I don't care if we put the kid in a blender. We're talking about abortion. Yeah. So it's like, it's that crazy.
Right, there it is,
Whoa, bro, like you... You're crazy about this animal, the kid, put him in a blender. Like, what is happening? And I think that stuff, it's song. You know what? It's kind of funny, whatever. But songs like this, I feel like, are super important because so many people are deluded into thinking that there's nothing Nazi-like or Hitler-like within them.
Yeah.
Newsflash. I say it all the time. It was impossible for Hitler to kill 6 million people. One man cannot do that.
Exactly.
He had to have the cooperation of the general populace.
Yep.
And so, like Jordan Peterson says, he spends his first semester trying to convince his students that they would have most likely joined in with the Nazi Party. Everybody loves that picture where everybody's doing the salute, and then there's this one guy everybody loves that picture. Yeah. There was only one guy in that picture. Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
And what do you think the odds are that you would be that one guy or that one girl, dear listener?
Right. Yeah, everybody wants to be the Good Samaritan. Newsflash, the Good Samaritan was Jesus.
You are not the Good Samaritan.
No.
We were the people who beat the hell out of that guy on the street to advance
Yeah.
our own ends.
Yeah.
So, that's why people, I just had another Original Sin conversation. I am just completely flabbergasted by the idea that this is even a disputable idea. How the hell do you explain the Holocaust and Pol Pot and Mao Zedong and Mussolini and Lenin and Stalin? Regular people took part in this shit. Or Trump to some degree. Regular people. You live in a country that drone bombed the hell out of he authorized 26,000 drone bombs. And we're just going along with it. We're not even speaking up against it. You live in a country that traffics women and slices and dices little children while they're alive in their mother's womb. But you don't think that there's anything within, and most of us just accept it. But you don't think there's anything wrong. Think about it. Every, previous Nazi society, we can all sit on the outside and point the finger and judge those guys. Slavery, we can sit and judge those guys. Has it ever occurred to you that maybe your generation is committing some atrocity that you're just blindly going along with? Ever occurred to you at all? Or because now we're so modern, we're behind all that stuff? Maybe there's a group of people in your current milieu where your government has said these groups of people are open for killing, and you just go along with it, uncontested. And then when a person does say, hey, wait a second, we're killing people, we're killing kids here, you go crazy on that person. Why is that? Has it ever occurred to you that maybe your generation is doing exactly what previous generations did, which we are now judging?
Right.
People love it when we criticize Christianity. They hate it when we go after their worldview. I love all of you. I'm just saying. This song is very funny, but at the end of the day, it is saying something about human nature that I think is absolutely relevant and pertinent. And I'm not saying you have to agree with us on the hot button topics. The only thing that bugs me is this condemnation. Let's punch a Nazi, blah, blah. Let's point we talked about this in the Bible. Let's point the finger at the Nazis. And not realizing that, not stepping back and reflectively saying, wait a second, those people, if you would have gone to your average German and said, are you a good person? They would have said, of course. I don't know how you say of course in Germany. They would. You said, are you a bad person? They would have said, nein, because I know that nein means no. If you'd have gone to any God-fearing Southern Baptist during the antebellum slavery era, and you would have said, are you a good person? They would have said, absolutely. But you and I both know that those people took part in horrible atrocities.
They were wrong.
Maybe there's one going on today that you're uncritically accepting. Have you ever thought of that? So I really actually like this song. I think Jay meant it to be funny, but I think there's some serious ideas here. And at the same time, as far as being offended goes, everybody knows how I feel about the Holocaust. That was kind of... There are a couple events that happened in my life, but when my mom explained the Holocaust to me, I'd say that was kind of a moment where I lost my innocence as a child. And you lose a lot of things when you look human evil directly in the face.
Well, yeah, when you see it on mass scale too, when it's not like just a small number of people are participating in it. The bigger that it is, the more horrific it is.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to get over that.
Yeah. For me, it was the Atlantic slave trade and, what happened in the concentration camps. But the Atlantic slave trade was that one was sickening.
Yeah. We've done, it's like me and Ian talk about all the time. Like, we've done a lot of terrible things to each other. In the name of God, in the name of no God, and it doesn't matter what the name is that you're doing it in. We're a brutal species of existence, I'll tell you what. What do you give the song?
I'm going to give it a 10. It kind of reminds me of, how Jesus said, if you're not for me, you're against me.
Yeah. You either with me or
you're either with him and advancing his cause, or you're doing it for yourself or somebody else or you know what I mean? Like, all those other motives, like, they're very easily bad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but if it's like, okay, I'm doing it just changes everything. But go ahead, what do you give it?
That was a 9.3. I wasn't really moved by the music, sonically by the music.
Oh, I loved it sonically.
but I thought the lyrical content was crazy relevant, crazy pertinent, and it's funny. But but the thing about funny people is they're extremely intelligent, and so it's a funny kind of song or whatever, but also something to kind of be reflexive about.
I'm going with 9.9 actually, because it's not quite a 10 for me, but it was definitely up there. So 9.9, and you're going with 9 point what?
9.3. I think.
All right.
There you go. Much love. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.